The Russian forces are focusing their main efforts on the Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Marinka directions, with 26 combat engagements recorded there in the past 24 hours. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said this in its evening update posted on Facebook, Ukrinform reports. The General Staff noted that fierce battles are ongoing for every square meter in the indicated sectors of the front. In the past 24 hours, the Russian invaders launched 1 missile attack and 27 air strikes, as well as about 30 MLRS attacks on the positions of the defense forces of Ukraine in populated areas. It is stressed that the threat of further enemy missile attacks and airstrikes across the entire territory of Ukraine is very high. The Air Force of Ukraine launched 18 strikes on Russian manpower clusters, as well as 2 strikes targeting enemy air defense systems. In the past 24 hours, units of the Ukrainian missile forces and artillery struck 5 command posts, 6 areas of concentration of manpower, weapons and military equipment, 2 air defense systems, 8 artillery units in firing positions, and 2 more important objects of the invaders. In the Lyman direction, Russian troops conducted unsuccessful offensives in the area of Vesel in Donetsk region, and used artillery to fire at Makivka, Nevsky, and Bilohorivka in Luhansk region, Verkhnyokamyansk, Torsky, Spern, and Rozdalivka in Donetsk region. In the Bakhmut direction, the Russian army tried to improve its tactical position, carried out offensive actions in the Ivanovsky, but had no success. The Russians launched an airstrike on Bilohora in Donetsk region. Vashukivka, Minkivka, Orikovo-Vasilivka, Hurahorivka, Bodanivka, Ivanovsky, Stupochki, Oleksandro-Shultin, Bilohora, Druzhba, Teresk and Pivnikny of Donetsk region came under artillery fire. In the Avdiivka direction, Russian troops made unsuccessful offensive attempts around Severn and Opin. The invaders launched airstrikes on the Avdiivka district, and used artillery to attack Novokolino, Avdiivka, Tenank, Pervomaysk, and Karlivka districts of Donetsk region. As reported by Ukrinform, the defense forces of Ukraine advanced 1,600 meters on the southern and northern flanks in the Bakhmut sector. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported on June 8 that Russia had lost 212,760 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes 730 casualties Russian forces suffered just over the past day. Putin should be scared. The Ukrainian counteroffensive is underway. While Kyiv remains tight-lipped about its plans, refusing to confirm whether the long-awaited counteroffensive has even technically begun, an uptick in heavy fighting across Ukraine has sparked speculation and rumor among analysts that the plans are finally coming to fruition. Ukrainian forces in the Belgorod region have engaged in guerrilla-style warfare. Drone strikes have hit Russia's capital city, and a video was even released by the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense teasing Russia. In the clip, Ukrainian soldiers put a finger to their lips, as if suggesting that they are keeping something secret. The clip was shared by Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov, accompanied by lyrics from a Depeche Mode song. "Words are very unnecessary," Reznikov wrote. "They can only do harm." While Kyiv may not have officially announced the counter-offensive, the taunting videos are evidence enough that it is either underway or that recent military action is a precursor to what will eventually become the counter-offensive, in whatever form it will take. Russia says it started. On Monday, Russia's defense ministry suggested that the counter-offensive had already begun, issuing a statement describing how a large-scale offensive had been launched across 5 sectors of the front lines in southern Donetsk. The region includes Bakhmut, the city recently claimed by the Russian military. Telegram posts by Russian veterans and military analysts shared this week also suggest that Ukrainian forces have dramatically increased their rate of fire on positions in the Zaporizhia direction. "I think now we can already talk about the beginning of the offensive announced by Ukraine for so long. There hasn't been such movement at the front for a long time. And on the part of the armed forces of Ukraine, it never happened at all," one user wrote, adding, "It's happening." Beyond shaping operations. While Ukrainian assaults have picked up in recent weeks, with a second drone strike on Moscow this time causing some damage, albeit minor, it's hard to tell whether Ukrainian forces are still engaging in shaping operations, or actually starting their counteroffensive. Shaping operations refers to a series of strikes and military decisions designed to shake Russian defenses, analyze enemy positions, and force Russian troops to dissipate from their established positions to regions where Ukrainian troops may be able to counter them more effectively. Russian forces appear to be well aware of Ukraine's plans, with the Russian Ministry of Defense announcing successful strikes on American Patriot missile defenses in Kyiv, as well as other attacks on Ukraine's military intelligence headquarters. Ukraine hits Russian forces with loitering weapons. A Ukrainian, loitering munition, or what many call kamikaze drones, didn't do much loitering. Instead, it could be seen in a short video posted to social media striking a Russian Ural cargo truck in eastern Ukraine. The video was shared on Twitter by the open-source intelligence group OSINT Technical at OSINT Technical on Wednesday. The incident occurred on a paved highway, and the truck was likely bringing supplies to Russian forces. The Ural 4320 is a general-purpose 6x6 vehicle that offers off-road capability. Introduced in 1976, it remains in production, and is the primary truck used to transport Russian military cargo and troops. It is able to accommodate upwards of 27 soldiers or up to 12 tons of cargo. Every truck is a high-value target. Though much has been made of the losses of Russian tanks and other armored vehicles in Ukraine, the fact remains that even at the start of the war more than 15 months ago the Kremlin lacked enough trucks to move men and material for a full-scale invasion. The role of trucks in wartime simply can't be overstated. The Kremlin has had to rely on trains to move supplies, but trains obviously can't reach the front lines. No other European nation uses railroads to the extent that the Russian army does. U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Alex Vershinin wrote on War on the Rocks in the fall of 2021, months before Moscow began its unprovoked invasion. But that does little good if the fighting isn't close to a railhead. The Russian army does not have enough trucks to meet its logistic requirement more than 90 miles beyond supply dumps, Vershinin added. Too few trucks is a lingering problem. The truck problem has become greater as Russia has tried to advance deep into enemy territory. It isn't just the moving of men, but of food, water, and ordnance. All of this has to be trucked in, and the shortage of trucks became readily apparent in the opening weeks of the war. The attack on Kyiv that failed last year was in part due to the fact that Russian brigades had to roll in material and other supplies from a main railhead in Gomel, Belarus. Everything that an army needs to do its thing comes from a truck, Trent Telenko, a former quality control auditor for the United States Defense Contract Management Agency, told CNN last year. He further underscored the significance of trucks in a modern conflict. The weapon isn't the tank, it's the shell the tank fires. That shell travels by a truck, Telenko noted. Thus the loss of another Russian truck means that not only won't the Kremlin's forces receive whatever it was carrying, but it will make it that much harder for those troops on the ground to further receive their supplies. That makes trucks as valuable a target as tanks. Even with the right ordnance, the Russian tanks are being destroyed in shocking numbers.